unelected so-called health experts at Davos 2024 are now prioritizing Disease X, the final solution to solidify New World Order domination. How did we get here? Disease X is lab-driven from the outset. Decades of researching human genes in mice and other animals and the discovery of ancient diseases have resulted in the World Economic Forum nonchalantly predicting that Disease X, with a 100% kill rate, could spread across the world in as little as 36 hours, killing upwards of 80 million people. Research has been ongoing at the UK's high-security, state-of-the-art facility in Porton Down, where a threat list grows of animal viruses capable of infecting humans. Meanwhile, the United States Congress is pushing the bioresearch bill H.R. 3832 to further U.S. labs' research of Disease X. Disease X represents far more than a pandemic of untold mass death. Disease X allows the pharma billionaires behind it to become trillionaires.
Now, Disease X, I've been teaching this sort of thing pretty well full-time since 1990. And I'd never heard of this Disease X. So I looked at some of my books, because when I wrote my book, I couldn't remember putting it in. So it wasn't in there, but so it must be a new disease. It's a virus we don't know yet, but we do know it's out there. But the video I was doing yesterday was examining a particular virus that was experimentally used to infect mice, caused a disease of the brain. And at the end of the study, none of the mice at the end of the study were alive anymore. And that virus, my understanding from reading of the paper, was it evolved in cell cultures in a laboratory. So as a result of going through cell cultures in a laboratory, the function of the virus had been increased.
So is the next pandemic really preventable?
While simultaneously allowing the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty to reach into sovereign nations and bypass their governments, a policy-shifting Trojan horse that was rehearsed at the Clade X tabletop exercise by the Johns Hopkins Center in Washington, D.C. in 2018.
The World Health Organization estimates that 150 million people have died. That's approximately 2% of the global population. In the U.S., there have been an estimated 82 million severe cases and 15 million deaths. At least 5 million Clade X deaths happened because adequate medical care wasn't available. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 90%. The GDP down 50%. It was only by nationalizing the healthcare system that basic medical care is still available. The government now pays for, controls, and rations all medical care. The president remains in critical condition, and while the vice president is out of intensive care, he remains unable to assume his constitutional duties. 1/3 of the U.S. Congress is dead or incapacitated. What if years? Experts tell us that we could eventually see 30 to 40 million deaths in the U.S. and more than 900 million around the world, 12% of the global population.
As the expose reported, Clade X is said to have illustrated high-level strategic decisions and policies needed to prevent a severe pandemic or diminish its consequences should prevention fail, and will educate senior leaders at the highest levels of U.S. government, as well as members of the global policy and preparedness community and the general public. Disease X is coming, but it isn't some chaotic pandemic we must manage. It is a genocidal kill weapon agreed upon by the worst members of humanity.
From near whiteouts to record cold, tonight tens of millions of Americans are caught in a series of dangerous winter storms that already appear responsible for at least 4 deaths. All weekend, from the West Coast to the Great Lakes, communities getting pelted with a wintry mix, some seeing more than 3 feet of snow. In New York, near blinding conditions causing today's Buffalo Bills playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers to be postponed. With fans helping dig out the stadium. New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
The storm is not over. It could have been far worse, but it's still not as safe conditions to go out.
Meanwhile, Grand Rapids, Michigan hit with snow for the 6th day straight. Kim Davis deciding to walk roughly 90 minutes round trip to the pharmacy.
But when you feel that wind,
it feels really, I felt like my jaw was freezing.
From the Pacific Northwest to Florida, much of the country experiencing temperatures well below average. Some wind chills making it feel like -60. In Kansas City, Missouri, last night's Chiefs-Dolphins game played on in -7 degrees, even as the Chiefs head coach's mustache started to freeze. A Saturday storm in Maine was blamed for washing away these fishing shacks. Across the country, roads turning dangerous too. In Colorado, officials say a highway was hit by an avalanche today. Iowa roads also treacherous on the eve of that state's Republican presidential caucuses.
Jesse joins us now from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Jesse, that area expected to see more snow this week?
We'll keep seeing this snow here and in other parts of the Great Lakes until Wednesday. Meanwhile, the Northeast could start seeing some snow as early as tomorrow night, and the travel issues continue. U.S. airports today alone seeing more than 6,000 delays reported.